Om Shri Sai Ram. I stand here today with an immense sense of gratitude to Bhagwan for many reasons. A lot of things gushes to my head as I stand today here. One of the things that was rushing into my mind, I was walking through the Sundaram gates, is today, as of now, I feel a sense of homecoming, as much as I would feel when I am in Vrindavan or in Puttaparthi. It's a moment where a lot of reminiscence of the journey that has taken me through to partially understand. It's impossible to understand Swami. Partially, maybe a fraction. More than understand, probably just experience the phenomenon that Swami is. As I reverentially, as much as I remember Swami and his presence, I also take this opportunity to remember all the people who have been instrumental in taking me at the folds of Swami, the portals of the Institute of Swami. Because my journey, as Brother Karthik was saying, started off maybe at a time where I had no memory of. I was a toddler. My parents tell me that we had the first darshan of Swami in Vrindavan, which I don't recall. But just as this journey is, I look back, and it is so very important to look back as well, many a times. As I walk through the Sundaram hall, there have been many locations I spot that I have sat here as a Balvikas student when Swami has been here, trying to get a glimpse of Swami, performed in the same hall as part of our samitis. And like any other student, or like any other youngster of that age who has walked into these premises, always wanted to get into Swami's Institute. And finally, yes, it happened in the year 1996 that I got myself fortunate enough to be admitted into the 11th standard of Sri Sathya Institute of Higher Learning. Now it is like, what do you call? The feeling is like, this is the preparatory ground, as I see here. A lot of people, when I see all of you, I'm going back to the days where every time you're spent here, it's a penance, and you know that. And what kind of a penance is it? Is something that each one of us relate to. One of the senior professors once made a remark and made a mention about the mindset of somebody who is waiting for Swami. And it's very true. And it goes like this. And this he said in the presence of Swami. And Swami, after listening to this, he was like uncontrollably laughing. When I say uncontrollably laughing, it's like விழுந்து சிரிப்பாருன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க இல்லையா, அப்படி நிச்சயம் அப்படி சீட்டை விட்டு விழல சுவாமி, அவ்வளவுதான். But he was laughing uncontrollably. And I start with that because I think that's been everybody's journey. That's the fortune of having lived in the times when an avatar has also walked at the same time on this planet. He said, Puttaparthi Eduthuttona, the Sai Kulwant hall is there. Somebody sitting at the end of the Sai Kulwant hall is always thinking, on the front row, it would have been nice for me to be there. In the first few blocks. The first few blocks, people are thinking, how lovely to be, had I been part of the Sevadal group, it would have been so nice to be sitting there. And then people in the first row are thinking, look at the staff. The staff, kadasi nimishathla vara nera poi anga ukandra, right? And they are getting such beautiful darshan. And the staff is thinking, look at the students, right? Look at the students. They are so blessed. They can come anytime, they walk in anytime, they are seated there. Swami was uncontrollable, kerchief ready vechirukkaru. And he goes on to say, and amongst the students are thinking they are sitting the last. There's always a first line in the students that I am not being part of. You always want to be part of that first line. And the first line, the student is probably thinking that how nice it will be for me, had I probably been inside the interview room. Inside the interview room. And the person inside the interview room, Swami lost control and started laughing. The person inside the interview room is probably thinking, how nice it probably is for me. Or probably Swami himself is thinking, the reason I say this is, this entire experience of knowing Swami is a journey. Right? It's a journey of probably not one lifetime. It's probably a journey of lifetimes that has been and lifetimes to come. So as I stand here, I only take this as an opportunity to share some moments spent at the lotus feet and probably share some learnings that I have had. While I know that every single person sitting in this hall has tasted what it is to have experienced Swami. Every single person sitting here has built that relationship with Swami. So today, it's my opportunity to share some of it with all of you. I will start with a wonderful thing that happened as soon as I joined the portals of the Institute. I joined the portals and I was one of those students who always wanted to get Swami's attention. Every student wants, but day in and day out, that's no other prayer. There's no other reason for existence other than that one glance from Swami or one word from Swami. The reason why probably, it's like almost, I look at Sundaram as, I prepare panni, I thuki pote, nipai Swami experience pantuvan sonna natkal. So this happened, I joined in the 11th standard and that year, we were extremely lucky because that year Swami had decided to speak in the public. He was giving discourses every evening. Every evening he was out there for 2 hours. And that's something you can imagine, right? How it will be. Usually Swami comes out to speak during festival days. And that year I thought that, I think probably this is the best time I have joined Swami's Institute. Swami is giving his discourses every day. Every evening you get to the mandir. But suddenly after some time what happened was, I will cut short because of want of time, because I would like to cover a few aspects. Swami had become upset about something and he became so upset that he stopped giving his discourses. Over 60 plus days he gave discourses daily. But one fine day he said, whatever we do, these boys are not changing at all. I have tried my best. I am giving up. No point in telling them anything. This was the reality that he told us. But outside when he made an announcement, he said, boys are having exams. So I think it's time for them to study. We will stop these courses for some time. Put a hold on spirituality, they will have to study. This was what it was. But we knew that Swami was very visibly upset with the fact that every day Swami is standing there and giving messages after messages after messages, and in his judgment, boys weren't living up to it. So he had stopped completely talking to any of us. He would always come, people who have experiences would know that when he doesn't want to look at somebody, the person doesn't exist. We all know that. Nobody exists in that space. So he would come through the Kulwant hall and then he would completely miss
the students' area where the students used to sit.
A neat transition from the women's side to the gents' side without anywhere coming in contact with one student as well. He would go there, finish his darshan completely. So this was going on for some time. And it's usually a time where we know that in the hostel, this period becomes what's called it's a mass self-introspection time, right? Not each one will introspect, but at a mass, the entire hostel will introspect. So the entire hostel was in a mode, what happened, why is Swami upset, this, that, and everybody were doing prayers and all that. So this sort of disturbed me a lot, and this was the first time I'm going into Swami's institute, and I was so elated with the fact that Swami is talking every day to everybody, but suddenly a total dip, and suddenly a treatment which was very difficult to take. So one day, everybody was making efforts to send cards, write letters and all that. So in my own little effort, what I did was I picked up a 4-side full-scape paper. That's the letter I wrote, okay? 4 sides, full-scape sheet. I wrote a long letter. I really whatever was there in my heart, just poured it out. I said, I have to reach this out to Swami somehow, and I poured everything out that I was having. And I went and sat there in the mandir. This was in the portico behind the Ganesha. Swami came, and Swami was like, he wasn't taking letters from anybody. Bhajans were just about to start. It was 5:30 or so, and I think 5:28 or so, he suddenly came out, and from far, he was not, his glance wasn't reaching out to any student. From far, like that, he called. And I went and didn't speak anything. Kai kuda padama abdi and the letter matram abdi edutharu. He just picked up the letter, went off inside. And hardly it would have been less than 20 seconds. Okay, less than 20 seconds. He comes back again. Thirumbi vararu. Thirumbi vandittu nera he came and stood in front of me. He stood in front of me like I have never seen him before like that. He stood in front of me like it was a colossal. When I say colossal, it's like நம்ம கீழ உட்கார்ந்திருக்கோம், நேரா அப்படி வந்து நிக்கறாரு, நான் இப்படி பார்க்கறேன் சாமியை. Swami is standing right there, and one question comes very hard from Swami. Swami asks, who is Arjuna? I had no answer. I was wondering, how do I take this question? Who is Arjuna? அப்படினு கேட்டாரு. I was like totally blank, blinking. I had no answer. And then somewhere the mind in me there was one other student by the name Arjun in the hostel. So I said, Swami, his name was Arjun Sachdev, and I said, Swami, Arjun must be somewhere here. I was trying to take my gaze off because Swami's gaze was extremely powerful. The question was no escape. I'm asking you a question. You tell me, who is Arjuna? And I had nothing to say. Then he said, I said, Swami, I don't know. Then he said, which Arjuna? Again I asked. And Swami said, letter mein likha tha na Arjun, who is that Arjun? That's the question. That was the next question. Then it struck me unknowingly, okay? Out of my want to reach out to Swami, I had written in the letter a very arguing statement to Swami saying, you got upset, Swami, okay. But why? We make mistakes and you got upset. If we didn't make mistakes, where is the need for you to even advise anything? That's the kind of conversation I was having in the letter. And I said, even Arjuna made mistakes. Didn't you have the time and patience to teach him? And if you had the time and patience to teach Arjuna in the middle of a battlefield, yes, we made mistakes. Yes, we agree we made mistakes, Swami, but please teach us. Please teach us whatever made you teach Arjuna, irrespective of what mistakes he made, you should teach us, is what I had written. And I had forgotten about it. It was a feeling of, yes, Swami, I will make mistakes. Yes, Swami, we make mistakes. But unless and until there is grace from you, like how Krishna had for Arjuna, we are not going to come out of this. Then I realized that I had written in that letter, who is that? So I had written in the letter about the Arjuna. Then Swami, it was a moment of revelation in my head. I realized that I had written about it. And then Swami had such a broad smile on his face, the ear to ear kind of a smile. Broad smile on his face. And he said one sentence which has stuck to me for life. He said, and he asked me to repeat it after him. This was right behind the Ganesha. He said, and he asked me to repeat. He said, repeat this after me. He said, Karishye. Then I said, Karishye. Then he said, Vachanam. I said, Vachanam. Tava. Then I said, Tava. Then the hand went up like that and pat on my back 4 times, 5 times. Again he repeated 3 times, Karishye, Vachanam, Tava. Then I said, Karishye, Vachanam, Tava. I didn't know what this meant at that point in time. I went back and studied what Karishye, Vachanam, Tava really means. I understood that was the state of mind of Arjuna that led Krishna to advise him as to what he should do or correct him when he made mistakes. Karishye, Vachanam, Tava means a state of mind where there is a total surrender of, I would do whatever you say. I would do what you say. Nee enna solriyo adha na pandren. That state of mind. That was Arjuna's state of mind. And that's when Krishna came forward. And so it was a message that yes, you would want to be, like Arjuna. But if you want me to be like Krishna, then you say, Karishye, Vachanam, Tava. A few days later, and then it was a beautiful relationship that started building physically with Swami. So wherever would he see me, he would ask, where is Arjuna? Hey, has Arjuna come? Why is Arjuna late today? My name had been totally, completely forgotten. Wherever I went, whatever I was doing, Swami would refer to me as Arjuna. But the intrinsic message out of this whole thing was, it was a bigger responsibility. The thought was not enough. The thought now had a huge responsibility to be in a state of mind that would say, Karishye, Vachanam, Tava, Mune Vartada, bold. Mune Vartala, the complete message was nailed into the head. And then later on, in one of the interactions that I was having with Swami was explaining, I further understood another thing from him regarding this aspect of this beautiful relationship of Arjuna and Krishna. He said, he quoted from the Bhagavad Gita, where it says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha. He said that. He asked me, do you know what it means? I said, Swami, where there is Krishna, where there is Arjuna. I had luckily, a little bit of Bhagavad Gita was there in the head. But I did not know until that day, where he explained, saying that it does not say Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho, doesn't stop there. It doesn't say where there is Krishna and where there is Arjuna, there will always be abundance, victory, valor, peace, everything. The word Dhanurdaraha is everything, he said. Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, meaning Partha is not supposed to be standing there simply. Where Partha is ready with his bow and arrow, where Partha is bearing his bow and arrow, there Krishna is there, and then there is abundance, there is valor, there is success, there is peace. So what he meant there was, effort meets grace. Grace is always available, but it is like that satellite tuning in, right? The little Tata Sky satellites that we see tuning into the satellites up there. Effort is what in our hands, grace is in his hands. But when you don't put that effort, it is like Krishna is also there, Arjuna is also there, that doesn't guarantee anything. Krishna is there, and when Arjuna also is ready with his Dhanurdhara, where he is ready with his Dhanush, there miracles happen. So slowly this started getting, it started becoming a learning for me. The journey began there, where it started becoming a learning for me as to, and this beautiful relationship of what Arjuna was to Krishna started building. And that's the beauty of Swami, right? You take a path and the path is of your choice, okay? But then he is at the end of that path telling you, giving you that little way. The path could be anything. The path could be, that's the best or the most liberal, the most democratic avatar that you can ever get, right? If you want to do bhajans, no problem. Through bhajans, I will convey what I need to convey. If you want to do seva, no problem. Through your seva, I will convey what I want to convey. If you want to go after who am I, knowledge, jnana, go after it, then I will deal with you the way that you are wanting me to deal with you. So this was how it was. This was a beautiful incident that happened that has stuck on with me. And these three words, Karishye Vachanam Tava, has become like, a Taraka mantra. Days passed by, and there were many such smaller interaction, and this beautiful relationship was being built by him, not me. It was beautifully being built by him. Whenever a letter was being written, whenever he would see me, so on and so forth. And here was a Lord who never gives up on you, never ever gives up on you. And I would probably share a very small incident, very, very small incident, but went a long way in instilling in me that here is a Lord you can rely upon completely. Here is a Lord who can, you can probably never feel, down with. So I had finished my 12th and the 12th standard results were out. We were all in Brindavan waiting for the results to be announced. And most of us will be waiting there, wanting to know what to do next. What should I do? Should I take BCom? Should I take MES? So on and so forth. So this happened that Swami was in Trai Brindavan and the results had come. The principal had come along with the results. And it's usually, most of the times people are running to sit in the front. That result day alone, there is a slight hesitation to catch the front seats. Because the results will be in Swami's hand, and what if Swami reads those results loud? So results was given to Swami, and I was sitting some 15th row from the Jula. And Swami had the results in front, and he saw one of the results of one of the other students. He called out for him. He was sitting inside. All phenomenal marks, great marks. It was 90s, 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 90s. And Swami shook hands with him and told, congratulations. He sat down. He called another boy. His marks were also 90s, 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 and sat down. That is one time probably you will find students bucking, they don't want to show their face. We don't know what would come. Everybody has written well, but, nevertheless, there's a risk there. So, somewhere the gaze was falling on me, and he asked, Noora, Parenti? He had already known the name, but he asked, Parenti? Then I said, Swami, honestly, when he asked, I looked back. I thought probably somebody else. Then I said, Swami Rajesh. He said, then he started looking at the sheet, one by one, one by one, one by one. And my heart was pumping very hard. This is usually a good student, but nevertheless, when Swami is announcing the results, anything can happen there. So Swami was going through that entire thing, and I was happy to hear there was a 80, there was a 80s and some 80s. There were one or two 90s. And many of the students here, I see some young faces. You would have probably finished your board exams and you just got your results. One paper alone, his face fell. That entire joy on his face was not there anymore. His face completely fell. I knew gone. I knew that probably, there's some kind of some paper I didn't do well. And but Swami did not give up on me there. He didn't announce the marks. It was that my moment of when Krishna announced the death of Ashwatthama. He played with the words to announce the death of Ashwatthama. He didn't read the last mark and he said, 95 vachesindi, 95 vachesindi. Very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. So I sat down. I thought, oh my God, it's not possible I got 95. It was in mathematics. There was no way I would have got 95 in mathematics. But then next day, that evening, I rushed to the warden and asked, sir, did I really get 95? He said, Babu, Swami saved you. He actually got 59. And Swami Swami was so gracious to not give up on you, and he just reversed that and said, you overall got 95. One another incident Brother Karthik was mentioning about, something that I've been very fortunate to experience this kind of a phenomenon that Swami is. This happened sometime when I was in the 6th grade or 7th grade. I think it was 6th, 10 years old. Brother Karthik was speaking about an incident with the Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram. I had not yet got into Swami's, this is much before I went into Swami's portals. So this happened where I was at home in Chennai, and the Shankaracharya of Kanchi was visiting a temple near our place. Was visiting a temple which is probably about a 5-minute walk from my house. He was visiting there, and my parents were going to have darshan, going to seek his blessings and have his darshan. When I say this, I say this with utmost reverence, and with absolute humility. It was just a tenacity of a 10-year-old boy with absolutely no ego. It was just a thought, but a very powerful thought. By then I had got introduced, had known Swami, been through the Bal Vikas. For me, Swami was everything. Swami replaced every other, it was Swami and me. That was what it was. So what happened, the Shankaracharya of Kanchi was there, and my parents actually asked me, why don't you also join along? Why don't you come along? And unfortunately, my parents are seated here. I told them I do not want to join. I do not want to come and see the Shankaracharya. Fundamentally, the reason was that I had already known Swami. I don't think there is a need for me to go to another guru. So that was the thought that I had in my mind, a 10-year-old boy. It was just a pure thought. But it so happened that the Shankaracharya, after his visit to the temple, he had come further down the road, much closer to my home, to another place. Now this was a 2-minute walk from my house. So he had come further down. So my parents had already gone to the temple, and then my father runs back. And he tells me that, okay, you didn't want to come to the temple. Your mother is feeling extremely upset that you did not come to the temple. He's just come further down. Why don't you come take his darshan? And I, for no other reason other than the fact that I did not want to upset my parents, I went to the lawns of that place where the Shankaracharya was visiting. And there were a few thoughts running in my mind on that day, and I very vividly remember it. The thought was running as to, there is no comparison between pontiffs and Swami and all that. But somewhere, as I said, a 10-year-old boy, it was just a pure thought, an absolute innocent thought in my head as to, now that Swami is here, and I saw most of them standing there, and they were all waiting for the Shankaracharya to arrive. And they were all wanting to see him and all that. Somehow in my head, the thought was, now that Swami is here, why don't you redirect everybody there? Why a D route? Was a thought I had in my head. Now the Shankaracharya came, and there was a large crowd in front of me. And he alighted from his van, he was going inside for the puja. As he was going past me, he was in a straight line from me, and he suddenly stopped. I suddenly stopped. And he asked people to move. And he just came straight down to me, and he asked me, what is your name? I was totally taken aback. Here is a guy who first of all refused to actually come. And after going there, I was having these kind of thoughts as to, Swami da vandutare apra yen abdingara thoughts was in my head. And he suddenly came and asked, what is your name? I took it as a blessing. I said, my name is Rajesh. He just blessed with his hands. He turned back, walked, went off inside. It was a very, very brief conversation, but it sort of left a huge impact on me for the energies that the Shankaracharya himself is. He went in and there was a puja that happened inside, and the people there in that house, they had respected him in many ways. One of the ways they had respected him was, they gave, when he walked out, I saw on him a garland of lemons, and I saw on him a krita of flowers. He walked out. When I saw that, my thoughts became even more powerful as to, is this required? Or I was thinking as to, now this much time, if probably somebody would have put into looking at Swami himself, wouldn't have been better. These were the thoughts running in my head. He came out, again he came past straight line, the crowd had come back. Once again he asked people to move. He just walked straight to me, no word spoken. Not a single word was spoken. He just walked straight to me, and he bent his head, he removed that garland, he put it on my head, and he removed the krita, put it on my head. He removed the garland, he put it on me, and he just quietly walked away. Okay? This was in 90s. It so happened that I had an opportunity where, in the year 2000, I was in the interview room with Swami, and I was alone with him. And Swami was sitting in his chair reading letters. So the letters that had been collected. Now, one thing I learned after going a little close to Swami, looking at the letters, is how much I have bombarded with those letters. How many letters come? And he sits there so patiently reading every one of them, everyone opening it, putting it. Every one of them opening it, putting it. So neat. The paper wouldn't even get crushed, wouldn't even get crumpled. The way it would have been received, the same way opened, same way closed, same way discarded. So I was sitting there, and somewhere this, during those moments, it's absolute silence. Swami isn't talking anything. And you sort of need to muster some courage to start a conversation, because Swami is actually in a very different plane. He is reading through letters. He would talk to himself. He would, suddenly gaze up in the air, and all that will be going on. Now, how do I start a conversation? I was just sitting down at his feet, and I was pressing his feet. As he was discarding every letter, I would take the letter and, keep it aside, so that after that the letter needs to be taken care of. So it looked like this thing was coming to an end. Then I slowly started a conversation. I said, Swami, can I share with you something that happened a few years back? Until then, that disconnected Swami suddenly became so interested in what I'm going to say. He said, Chapu. Are I am here only for that. Tell me what. And he came to the edge of his seat. Until then he was sitting behind. He came to the edge of his seat and then tell me. He put aside everything and he said, come on, tell me. So I said, Swami, so many years back this happened. I narrated this incident, and you can imagine, I was putting in the best of my narration because Swami was showing so much interest. Swami wanted to know what happened. So I said, Swami, this happened. He came. I said, I will not go. Then my father came, and father said, no, at least for mother's sake, you should come. I went there. All this was going on, and Swami was like, really? Inka emi? Then what happened? He was constantly encouraging me to tell what next. And I was in my dramatic best maybe on that day. I was putting in the best of my narrative skills to explain, build a suspense, all that was going on. And then I narrated until a point where the Shankaracharya came out with the krita and the mala. Until that point I narrated. Until that point I said, Swami, this happened. Swami was like, oh really, nice, oh really, then next. Then all of a sudden, there was an absolutely different Swami that I saw. all of a sudden that inquisitive, the childlike, innocent, wanting to know more kind of a Swami suddenly disappeared. He sat back on the chair like a king. All I can relate to is he sat back on the chair like one Raja of Rajas. That body language changed, the eyes changed, the entire facial expressions changed. And he stopped me from narrating. And he said, instead of me narrating the rest of the story, he narrated what happened after that. He said, the Shankaracharya came, the Shankaracharya was going past you, the Shankaracharya caught your thought, he came close to you, he removed his garland, put it on you, he removed his krita, put it on you, and he walked away. You know, it was such a big moment of truth for me that day. It was such a big moment of truth for me that day that for a second I had absolutely forgotten that here is a person who actually has seen it all. And I was trying to tell him what was going on, but he knew exactly what had happened. And he narrated this to me, and I was awestruck. I had nothing to say after that. You know, it is that moment where you are dropped from the, you take to the highest floor, and from there you are dropped, you just come crashing down and realize that, oh my goodness, what was I doing all this time, right? So that happened, and I wasn't telling this incident. Swami had indicated not to share this incident for some time. I wasn't, every time I would ask Swami, can I, whenever I was asked to speak, I would request Swami if I could say this. He would say a no. I had totally given up after a point to ask Swami on this, because I felt, maybe these are conversations that happen between the greats, the Mahans, and the people who absolutely interact at different levels, right? So I sort of stopped asking, and one fine day in Trai Brindavan, and Swami wanted me to speak. When I went close to him, then he said, hey, Saraswati Cheppu, abdinnaru. And that was the first day I took Swami's permission to start sharing this. Because to me, in my personal experience, this has been an acknowledgement at various levels. This has been he doesn't need any acknowledgement, but still this has been something which has been a fact that you just know that here is a person who has walked this earth, who converses, who is probably everybody converges into, right? And then this beautiful time that he has given for us to understand or experience him to a certain extent at the physical level is something that we have to count our stars, or just be grateful to the fact that he had chosen out of the billions of people on this earth, out of the billions and billions of people on this earth, the number of people who have come in contact with him, the number of people who have got to know him, number of people, forget getting near to him. He has always said that nearness important kaadu, dearness becomes important. How many of us in our thought level have become dear to him? So we've got to really, really consider ourselves very blessed, and live in this thought day in and day out. Live in this thought day in and day out, that face the world with this thought that we have known the highest, right? Humility in the heart, but complete confidence, because we have seen the highest. There's another beautiful incident that comes to my mind. This was in the year 2001. It was Swami's 75th birthday. I am very particularly trying to pick up certain instances where Swami has given a message that has hit, the nail into your head very strong. And this is one such. The Swami's 75th birthday, and a lot of preparation was going on. The entire party everybody was busy. Everybody, there were lakhs and lakhs of people coming in. And there was so much of giving and giving. Probably more than 1.5 months, Swami had started to give so many things. Saris, dhotis, people from villages pouring in, all that was going on. And then at that point in time, I was fortunate enough to be near Swami in many occasions. So it so happened that one of the days Swami had come early. He usually used to come out at around 2:30 or so. But that day he was out 1 o'clock. And the morning darshans, everything got concluded, and we had just wound up at around 11:30. And we had gone and had our lunch. And then usually the birthday time is when the institute convocation drama also happens. I was doing a part in the convocation drama. And it so happened that there was hardly any time. So I was there at the institute practicing my, my parts in the drama and all that. And Swami suddenly came, and 1 o'clock Swami was there in the mandir. And Swami was looking for somebody. Swami asked many people did not know the word Arjuna. For many of them it was still not known. Swami once asked, where is Arjuna? And I was not there. And then he saw me once again, 10 minutes passed, I was not there. He came, opened the door. Hey, that palm tree, that tall fellow, where is he? Again he went off. And as usual, there was people hunting. Some went to the hostel, some went to the institute, some went, looking out. They were sending word for, they probably thought it should be me, and they were sending out word for me. And many of them did not know that I was in the institute auditorium, I was practicing. And then suddenly, I think by this entire hullabulla was happening, some close to 45 minutes to 50 minutes had passed from the first time he asked, where is this boy? So I had finished, by the time the news reached me, it was 45 minutes later. So I rushed. I did not think that Swami would have come that early. So I just changed into my whites and I rushed to the mandir. And then Swami was well inside the interview room. The brother who was managing the entry into interview room and all that, he said, you're already very late. please go. Swami has been asking for you for more than 45 minutes. In those occasions, your heart is really out of your mouth. You don't know what's going to happen. He has been asking for you for 45 minutes and you are not there, right? You never know. You never know. It's like Professor Anil Kumar always says, there is always a divine risk involved with all of this, right? So you never know how Swami is going to react. If he's angry, how should I handle Swami? All that thought is going on in my mind. I just slowly open the door and I walk in. And Swami is not there in the interview room, in the front room. Then I walk into the kitchen and Swami is there in the kitchen. He is working and I didn't exist for him. I had come in, he had noticed I am there, but he didn't say a word. He was taking things from here, putting it there, taking things from there, putting it here. And he walked out of the interview room, walked out of the kitchen and went and sat off in the interview room chair. Then I followed him and I knew Swami is probably upset. So I didn't say a word. I just went and stood there in front of him. And he made a remark at that point, which I think again hit like a bolt. He said, this body's 75th birthday. Okay, this was another few days was November 23rd. So he said, this body's 75th birthday. And he said, the entire world out there is waiting for me. And here I am waiting for you. I didn't have any words to speak. I just knelt down. I had tears in my eyes. Kneeling down, I just walked forward. And I said, Swami, please forgive me. I'm very sorry. I did not know that you have come early. But then, after that, there was no anger. There was not an iota of anger in Swami's face. It was a statement. It was a fact. And then he just looked down, and I think that face is very different. When it is filled with that compassion, eyes are teary. Okay, the body is oozing love, nothing else other than love. And what he said after that was something, again a revelation. He said that I have no choice but to wait. I have no choice but to wait for all of you for that day when you will know that you and I are not different. It hit me like one boulder on my head. On my head it hit me. He just said, I have no choice but to wait for that day when you will realize that you and I are no different. So I had tears in my eyes. I did not know what to say. I did not know what to speak. But these are all moments where, they are moments of truth, as I call it. They just hit you and they stay with you forever. They really stay with you forever. In yet another incident, we were a group of 5-6 of us at Swami's feet. Swami was casually interacting a few things. Swami was talking about plans of the next few days, what's happening and all that. And then again, this is another moment of truth. He came forward and as if he was going to tell a secret. Interview room முதல்ல ரொம்ப சைலண்டாக இருக்கும், right? கொஞ்சோண்டு பேசினா கூட நல்லா கேட்கும். It's very silent. We all know that when Swami is here, this how pin drop silence it would be, right? But he whispered. He came to the edge of his seat as if he's going to tell a secret, as if he's going to deliver something which he doesn't want everybody to know. He came forward and he said, suddenly he asked, do you know why all these people are sitting outside? இத்தனை பேர் வெளில உட்காந்துருக்காங்கல்ல, எதுக்காக உட்காந்துருக்காங்கன்னு தெரியுமா? எதுக்காக இங்கே வந்திருக்காங்கன்னு தெரியுமா? That's what he asked. When such questions come, there are only two things. One, you can blurt whatever comes to your mind, definitely to make a fool of yourself. Or patiently sit back be ready because some bolt is coming. It's 200% a bolt is coming on you. We are looking at each other. 5-6 of us who are sitting there, we are looking at each other. We are really not answering Swami. Tell Swami, we don't know. I will tell you a secret, he said. I will tell you a secret. What you would have expected at that point in time is probably Swami to tell that they're all here because they want something or the other of Swami. They have come here to see Swami. Everybody sitting out there is having a want. Everybody sitting out there is asking Swami something. Idu venu, adu venu, adu venu, idu venu, edachum onu venu, right? Or at least nee venu, right? At least I need you. There is a want, there is a need, right? I am telling you a secret today that ava edavukku vandirukkaanu enakkum theriyadu, but ana நான் இங்க அவளுக்காக மாத்திரம் தான் இருக்கேன். He said, I am here only because they are there. I am here only because they are there. If they are not there, I am not needed here. Again, looking back, when his physical presence is not there, some of these sentences that he has spoken has been so deep-rooted, that we have lived in the midst of a phenomena that has touched us at all levels, at a level where, ஒரு மார்க் கம்மியாக வாங்கும் போய் he saves you from it, and suddenly on the other end you see that he reveals himself as somebody who knows everything that is happening, absolutely everything that is happening, and somebody who has allowed us to take the path that is suitable to us, not really prescribing one path. Whatever is your path, whatever is convenient to you, right? He ensures that the path has minimum boulders, and even if there are minimum boulders, he is there to help you to get over it. So such a beautiful Swami who has been with us and who continues to be with us. Two last things I would talk about and I will conclude. There was this was one of the days when we were all inside with Swami. Most of the days it is some work or the other. There is always work. So we were, I think the saris and things, dhotis and all had arrived. We were working to arrange it and all that because the birthday was coming, and usually it's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours after darshans get over, we will be doing our work with Swami. I tell this to sort of, once again, a very, very intrinsic message that I heard from Swami, and how much of a perfectionist that he is. It's a lesson for us in there. It's a big lesson for us in there. There was a proposal that was brought to Swami. I do not know what that proposal was. I do not know what the document was. But it was some kind of a document that the organization was bringing to Swami for blessings. The organization was bringing it to Swami for a go ahead. They are waiting for that manchidi, start doing. That they were waiting for that instruction. So they were waiting for that instruction, and Swami takes that proposal, okay, flips through the proposal, gives it back, continues doing his work, and asks us to continue doing our work. We were all working around him, and the people who had come representing the organization, they did not understand. Naturally, they did not understand. So again, Swami, we want you to bless. Swami didn't say anything. No word spoken. He continued doing. Then they knew that probably this is not the right time. They went back. We will come the next day. So it was taken back. The next day again they are sitting. Swami asks them to come inside. They go into the interview room. Once again they present it to Swami. And Swami opens it, sees it, gives it back. Nothing is spoken. No blessings, nothing is spoken as well. They go back. Third day, again this happens. A few of us are sitting there. He gives that book to one of us and he says, go through it. So it was not me, it was another boy, and it was a beautifully made, some kind of a proposal that Swami's blessings was required. Gave it back. Nothing was spoken. 3 days, no word spoken. Some kind of a document is being given to Swami. Swami is looking into it. He's not saying anything. Neither is he scolding anybody, nor is he saying, go ahead, giving it back. Then 4th day, the elderly gentleman asked Swami, what happened? Please tell us something. No means no. Yes means yes, but tell us something. We are not able to figure out why are you giving it back, and every day this is going on. And Swami said, open the book on so-and-so page. Okay. That person opens the book on so-and-so page. And then Swami said, how have you written, what is written there? Do you find anything wrong? I said, no Swami, we are not finding anything wrong. And he says, there was one place where they had written Sri SSSIHL organization. Okay. This was and the proposal book or whatever, the book was at least some 60 pages. Okay. He had not seen the full 60 pages. He flipped through, gave it back for the 3 days. It was written Sri SSSIHL organization. Then Swami asked, where is the word seva in it? Swami said, without the word seva, there is no need for Sri SSSIHL and there is no need for the organization. So I said, there is no need for Sri SSSIHL, there is no need for the organization. Sri SSSIHL Seva organization. It was one mistake in that whole book. Everywhere else it was right. Again, something we have observed. We were only there in the sidelines, but when we stood there, we saw, it's not just the word being missed there. He did not leave an opportunity to keep repeatedly teaching us. He did not leave an opportunity to repeatedly remind us. He did not leave an opportunity to repeatedly keep telling us, right, as to why we are here, what we should be doing, so on and so forth. In one another incident, this was in Trai Brindavan. 2 of us, I think it was 3 of us were sitting with Swami. And Swami, that morning Swami had taken us to the city, to the Bangalore city, for the opening of a Kalyana Mandapam, of an auditorium. So morning we had gone there with Swami. The auditorium inauguration, all that happened in a very grand manner. We had, usually, we are, when you go with Swami, you are treated like a prince. We all know that. We had sumptuous food. We came back. That evening, Swami was sitting in the Jula, and we were all, three or four of us were sitting around Swami, and Swami was asking each of us, how was the session in the morning? What did you see there? Did you all eat food? Sorry that I was not able to, check on you, but I hope you had your lunch. All this, the usual, completely the mother takes over in many places. Saptiya, saptiya, saptiya. He will ensure that everybody eats well. Most of the times when we have finished our work, he would have also worked along with us, but he will ensure that he will himself come with a tray of juice in hand. I say, you first finish drinking, then you continue your work. Likewise, that day he was standing there, he was asking, did you guys eat food and all that? We said, Swami, yes, we ate food and all that. And then one of us was not speaking. He is usually a guy who eats well. Okay, Swami knows that he eats really well, and Swami always used to love serving or asking him, because he is a person who relished food. And Swami was looking at him, and he was not answering at all. He was having his head down. He was feeling very disturbed. And Swami asked him, what happened? Why are you like this today? And Swami, he told, something is bothering me from morning. There was an incident that happened in that place which was a little unpleasant for this student, and it was eating in him. And he told Swami that, Swami, I'm feeling a bit disturbed. And Swami asked, what are you disturbed about? And he said, he asked a very fundamental question. He didn't speak about the incident, anything. He just asked Swami, some of the times you can ask anything. The Swami is in a mood to take any question. Sometimes you just keep your mouth shut. That was one of the evenings where you could ask. And then he asked Swami, Swami, when we know something around us is not happening the right way, not happening the way it should happen, not happening the way we know is wrong, what do you expect us to do? You say we are your change agents. You say that we are your change agents. So can you tell us explicitly what you mean by change agents? Should I go then and there, stop that happening? He asked this. Or should we go around telling this should not happen, that should not happen, you should not do this way? Should we go advise somebody? That was the question. Every time we ask a question, we would have mustered courage to ask the question. That pause after that Swami gives, 1,000 thoughts will run in our heads. That pause, we don't know what will come. Right? Swami had a long pause, absolutely long pause. A question where you want us to be change agents. But when something is not happening the way it should happen, what should I do? Should I go stop them? Should I go tell them? What should I do? What would we expect generally? The expectation was that Swami would say, no, you have to be right, you have to go tell. That was our thought. The answer came in 2 words. The answer simply came in 2 words. And as much as I know you will be surprised, we were surprised then listening to this answer. He said, Rende varthala da answer. He said, don't care. Don't care. Answer easier irukra mari theriyudhu. Ana immediate vera question varudhe. I am sure it is coming for all of you also. What do you mean by don't care? Then how do we be change agents? And how do we really, what are we going to tell them? And how are we going to go and change this world? Then came, Swami said, he said that whatever you have experienced of Swami, whatever you have learnt at his feet, whatever you have picked up from this place, whatever you have seen of Swami and learnt, right? As your only duty, your responsibility, highest responsibility to ensure that you do not deviate from that even for a second. That's the only thing I expect from you. Somebody else looking at you and even having a thought that I should be like him, that's my job. So that's my job. I will take care of it. I will take care of it as much as you can ensure that I need those reference points. So when I can have somebody think to turn to you and say, okay, I would want to be like him. I want to see him. No, look at him. So that job is mine. Don't enter into my territory there. Your job is only ensure that what you have learned, what you have picked up, whatever you have seen, what you have experienced, whatever you have experienced of Swami, in your own measure, in your own hearts, stick to it. Stick to it, and then rest of it is Swami's. The kind of things that we have heard Swami say so far, this lifetime is not going to be enough to live by every word. Karishye Vachanam Tava is not that easy. Right? So I will end with a small saying that we all know. I take this opportunity to request you all to repeat with me what Swami made me repeat. And probably that's something which we all can reminisce ourselves today. The bird with you, the wings with me, the foot with you, the way with me, the eye with you, the form with me, the thing with you, the dream with me, the world with you, the heaven with me. So are we free, so are we bound, so we begin, and so we end. You in me, and I in you. I take this opportunity to go back to that day when Swami asked me to repeat these 3 words. And may I request all of us to join me in repeating. I think that's a state of mind all of us need to be in to receive the highest of grace. So can you join me in repeating? Karishye Vachanam Tava. Karishye Vachanam Tava. Karishye Vachanam Tava. I thank Swami for this wonderful opportunity. Today is May 26th. In the year 2003, when Swami, on May 18th, was the last time he called me separately and he told me, you leave now, do whatever you want in your life, I will be with you, was the word that he had spoken to me before I left. This was 2003. And 16 years hence, as I stand here, I owe every second of this life, of my life, completely to him. And I do not know whether this lifetime is going to be enough to live up, but then there will be no effort left not to try that. So I leave you all with this thought. Thank you very much. Jai Sai Ram.
Karishye Vachanam Tava. I think, brother, that sums up. I would like to quickly recap some of the points which I gathered from what you shared today. Of course, it starts with Karishye Vachanam Tava. I remember once Bhagavan mentioning that the real Pada Puja to the Guru is actually walking in the footsteps of the Guru, which means implementing in our lives what he has taught. So Karishye Vachanam Tava was definitely one big takeaway. He also spoke about what our role is and what we need to do to benefit from Swami's grace. He spoke about how we should not just be a Partha, but the Partha who is a Dhanurdhara, who is ready to act and who is ready to do Karishye Vachanam Tava. And that's again a very beautiful aspect that he brought about. As he was speaking these words, brother, I was just reminded, possibly that's why Swami referred to himself as the Sanatana Sarathi, the eternal charioteer. Because if he is the eternal charioteer, I guess each one of us are his Partha. But for the Partha to benefit from the eternal charioteer, the Sanatana Sarathi, we need to, one, be Dhanurdhara, ready to act, and also unfailingly follow his words, which is Karishye Vachanam Tava. Again, the beautiful grace of Swami, how a 59 can become a 95. You know, the Lalita Sahasranama speaks about the Lord as Bindu Tarpana Samtripta, the one who is satisfied by the smallest sacrifice. The Lord exaggerates, I think, the smallest virtue that we have and ignores the biggest blemishes which the world thinks we may have. You know that beautiful episode he was talking about how he recounted his experience with the Shankaracharya. Once Bhagavan told us in Trey that man knows nothing but pretends to know everything. God knows everything but pretends to know nothing. And I think that's what we saw through the beautiful episode that you narrated. And then the sublime picture you painted of the eternal charioteer who is in eternal wait for his children to reach him. Where Swami says, in fact, confess that God waits for us. It's not that we wait for Swami, but then Swami waits for us to do Karishye Vachanam Tava and also take up the Dhanu as the Partha. And then, of course, how beautifully Swami reminded us that the very purpose of the Satya Sai organization is Seva. Where he said it is not just Sri Satya Sai organization, but it's Sri Satya Sai Seva organization. Very beautifully bringing it back to the major theme of Karishye Vachanam Tava and the Partha who is Dhanurdhara. And then that beautiful practical, I think, example that Swami gave, saying if there's something around you which is not okay, it is not your job to transform the world. Leave that job to me. It's in very safe hands when it's in my hands. Your job is to follow what Swami is saying, and you do not care, and don't take upon yourself the illusion that you are the person who transforms the world. I hope I've been able to do a faithful summary of the beautiful points that you shared, brother. More time, I'm sure we possibly could have had, more incidents, episodes coming for you, but possibly for some other day, some other time. May I now request one of our elders in the Sai organization, Sri T.G. Krishnamurthy Uncle. Uncle, if I can request you to please honor Rajesh by placing a shawl. May I also request our State President, Sri H R Chandrasekhar, to share a memento as a mark of a love and affection for Rajesh. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, TGK uncle. Thank you so much, brother. Jai Sai Ram.